Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Who knew that we would make it to a 5th episode of our podcast? My mom sure didn't know, and you sure didn't know. But here we are, a 5th episode of Give Peace a Chance. Please, no round of applause. No round of applause. You're gonna have to be careful. They're not gonna be like, "There's a woman sound. What's happening?" You're gonna throw
That's
them
the
off.
only time you'll hear me this entire show.
This is episode 5 of Give Peace a Chance. This is a show where we give peace a chance. What I'm talking about is giving movies that you may have missed a chance. Because there are millions and millions and millions and millions, or probably tens of hundreds of films out there. And here we are reviewing like the 7 that we think deserve a second chance. Yes?
No.
Yeah, people are probably wondering where the female voice comes from.
Well, we'll get to that right now.
Well, I'm a ghost, yeah.
So, I am your talking voice, the Reverend Jim Smooth. I am surrounded by the man on the board.
Haunted.
No.
It's October.
No,
I'm haunted.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So when you drive a bus, do you drive a bus?
Busted job.
I drive a bus! You dick.
My career is bust.
So obviously there is a higher octave voice in the room. We are missed by our good buddy BJ today. He has many honeydews to do. So we decided because BJ couldn't join us, we would ask another girl to come in and enjoy films with us.
He's hoping for a BJ, that's why he has the honeydew.
She's got nicer boobs.
Don't treat
All respect
me
to
so bad now. Listen, you know what?
It's all respect now.
That is rude.
I know, but I also am a veteran of this shit, so I have to be here with you guys, but that's fine.
Excellent. So no, actually, Mallorie
Thank
decided to join us. Mallorie has an extensive background of all kinds of stuff that we kept tuning out because she was hot, and we kept going, yep. But she's done a lot of cool stuff, but yep.
Look at them titties fly.
Now, Mallory's cool as shit, and we're happy to have her in today. So, Ted, we had a little time off.
Yes.
I understand that half of it had to do with you having a mental breakdown.
Yes.
Half of it had to do with me having a mental breakdown. The other 30% was BJ having some honeydews.
Yes. We're gonna talk about his honeydews.
So, am I clear in saying that is correct?
47 times.
30% is the honeydew.
Yes.
I'm just saying, well, 50%
Not
was...
his mental health or yours.
He has mental... Don't make fun of mental health.
That's what I do for a living.
I got 90%. I saw someone get run over by a steamroller.
I happened to have to lock out an ex-girlfriend so she wouldn't come in.
Do you know what I do for a living?
Yes.
Do you think I was in a prison breakout today? I saw somebody take a fire hydrant and smash it through a window, but it wouldn't break. So
that's one hell of a honeydew.
Yeah, but do you have to clean up steamroller victims?
I have to clean up vomit from a guy that choked on a peanut butter sandwich and locked himself in a bathroom.
But
I won't say where.
And you're not allowed to bring in the hazmat?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about where I work or anything, but I do work in that field.
I would love a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
Okay, so moving right along. Just so you understand the format of what we do here is a lot of people review movies, a lot of people talk about movies. There are either people that make fun of movies, there are people that talk about the new movies. What we do is we want to bring to light films that I love. I want to talk about things that you missed it. And then when I share it with some of my best friends and they tell me, you're an idiot, I can go, what?
But you have a stunning coat.
Oh, I do have a stunning coat.
North Face is the jam, man. This boy's looking fly. You listeners, you know boys are the...
It's like Army Regulation, but it's shiny.
And you have
it's like a Michael Stipe
you have a voice for radio.
Army jacket.
Sure, you have a voice for radio. You have a face for television. Ted here. He has a personality for podcasts.
There we go.
Completely lacking.
And you are excellent host, I might say. I'll try not to go too far off topic because it's actually awesome listening. So proceed.
All right. So basically, what we do here is we do talk about films that you may have missed. So we're gonna start right off. Our partner in crime, Brad songwriter Joseph Harmon, who missed out, who loves Christmas. He loves Christmas tunes. He loves Disney. He gave us Treasure Planet. What is Treasure Planet about, Ted?
Treasure Planet is a 2002 American animated science fiction action-adventure film produced by Walt Disney Feature Animation and released by Walt Disney Pictures on November 20th.
Did you say he's an anti-Semitic of his time?
Released on November 27th, 2002. It is the 43rd Disney animated film.
God, the viewership
That's a lot of
yeah.
That's a lot of animation. That's a lot of cell drawing.
So what's it about?
The film is a science fiction adaptation of Robert Louis Stevenson's adventure novel Treasure Island and was the first film to be released simultaneously in regular and IMAX theaters. The film employs novel techniques of animation, the first of the kind. Do you?
I'm not on the show. I'm here.
Did you really believe I don't know what novel means?
Well, I didn't.
I was pretty sure it was a thing sitting next to my bed.
Yeah, me too.
So.
Novel technique of hand-drawn,
Most of times.
two-dimensional. Hand-drawn, two-dimensional.
I have a feeling we should put a rap sound behind this. Because this is boring as fuck. Hand-drawn, two-dimensional, traditional animation set atop 3D computer animation.
Alright, fine.
And
so
we're back.
You're done.
In the NPR studios.
BJ does that so much better than you. BJ's good. He's like in it.
I miss you, BJ.
I miss you, BJ. Okay, so Mallorie, what is your take on this film?
Well, let's get back to Robert Louis Stevenson and how I butchered Treasure Island and Treasure Planet. Now, according to Roger Ebert, this movie is so ahead of its time, and he was alive then and wasn't missing half of
He still had his job. Yeah.
He was still alive then.
I couldn't look at the pictures. I'm so sorry. I couldn't look at we had.
I know.
The pictures?
Yeah, when
watch the documentary.
No, I can't.
No, it's good. It's good.
Well, the point being is, look, I mean, like, you get like Milan and stuff and things like that. All I know is, I appreciate Disney till forever, but I don't like blended plot lines if there's no real reason behind it. If there's a purpose behind it, I'm all about it. But that's a whole Pandora's box that we'll get into.
Okay, so some things you need to know about this film. So this film was actually pitched the same time that Little Mermaid was pitched.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and the same guys that did Little Mermaid pitched this film. And so when they were in there, they were like, well, we have something else.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Brian Murray, David Hyde Pierce, Martin Short, there's Emma Thompson. There's a lot of people that voice a lot of the voices in this thing. I actually think, because this film actually was the longest film to date at this point to make. It took them 10 years to make this film.
I didn't know that.
So, in order to make this film over 10 years, how much acid did they have to take? Because, like, the story is one thing, but, like, the characters that they did, how do you come up with that? How do you decide, like, okay, so the cook is going to be, but he has a little friend who hangs on his shoulder who's he's like a transformer. I'm sorry, I haven't slept in 3 days. I'm sorry, what?
There's a man on my head as we speak.
What? Some interesting facts. IMDb score of 7.1, Rotten Tomato score of, critic score of 69%, audience a little better of 71%. Ted, what say you?
I say, in BJ's absence, I don't think I've ever liked a BJ film, but I like this movie.
It's funny, I didn't skip that last night.
What did you say?
In the absence of a BJ.
I never liked a BJ?
I think the opening has a few tropes, like the kid reading under the covers of his bed. How many times have you seen that?
Harry Potter straight stole that.
Yeah. And the mother is like,
just for my mother.
James Pleiades Hawkins. How many times have you seen that in movies? Right.
So let me ask you a few questions as the other side out of it. And I let you finish.
I don't mean to...
You can't interrupt me and then go...
I don't mean to rip on this. I don't mean to rip on the movie. It's a great movie. I think it could be masterful, but the Goo Goo Dolls...
You leave Goo Goo Dolls alone.
No. That took me totally out of...
That was a punk band that turned into a soulful, heartful, make me want to cry, remember all the girls that broke my heart.
Their first 2 albums are fucking masterpieces, and then they turn up on a soundtrack from Disney. No.
So, did you know why part 2 never was made?
The budget?
Because
too much acid.
Because they decided to add a Jar Jar
they had a full-on
character.
No, they had a full-on part 2 ready to go. Part 1 didn't make enough money, and they spent 10 years making part 1, so they didn't make it. Did you notice small little things in the film? Did you know Jim is our lead character? I'm also Jim. Did you notice his clothes, that when he started as just like a swashbuckler to when he got to the end of it, did you notice his clothes got lighter? What does that mean?
They ran out of ink. They ran out of ink in the animation.
No, Ted. He went from, remember in the beginning of the movie, he was a bad boy who was like doing trouble. That's right. And then by the end of the film, he was a hero. And they literally did that with colors. You don't have to raise your hand, just talk.
Well, I don't want to interrupt. Do you know that black and red usually symbolize the
Nazis
as it gets on? Yeah, well, sure, exactly. But it's called symbology. Some of you know this if you study occult symbolism, right? So this could go down symbology.
Symbolism.
Symbology and symbolism are different.
I'm just doing a
mic checks. Anyway, light colors, like especially green, represents natural magic. Blue and purple represent femininity. So I'm interested to know. So what colors do they?
Yeah. He literally goes from dark grays to light grays as he goes from his journey from being a bad boy to being the hero. He literally you can watch the color scheme.
That's cool.
And the little shapeshifter dude.
That was great.
That's the best part of the movie.
But that's the only comic foil that was needed.
Anyway. Please tell me that was Martin Short's part. I know Martin. I'm a big Martin Short fan, and as I read over it on IMDb.
I love Martin Short, but excise Martin Short from this movie.
Move along.
Martin Short character did the Jerry Lewis imitation, and it did not work, and that distracted. I think the movie would be a masterpiece without that, and without a few of the tropes.
So here we go. We're going to move along. We're going to move on to our next film. It is called Inside Llewyn Davis, an IMDb score of 7.5, a critic score of 72%, and an audience score 74.
What a bunch of bullshit, man. Absolutely. People are just dumb.
So Ted, what's
2013 French-American black comedy tragedy. Directed, produced, and edited by Joel and Ethan Coen. We are all big fans around here. Set in 1961, the film follows 1 week in the life of Llewyn. That's not the right way to say it.
Llewyn? You said that twice
because
it's Llewyn.
It's Llewyn, and there are surnames with an extra consonant. So it's hard for me to say it. So Llewyn Davis, played by Oscar Isaac in his breakthrough role, a folk singer struggling to achieve musical success while keeping his life in order. It co-stars Carey Mulligan, John Goodman, who has never been in a Coen Brothers movie, Garrett Hedlund,
finally,
F. Murray Abraham, we all love him, and Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake is on my I will switch batters list.
No, go.
I love this movie.
Why?
I forget.
How many times?
Okay,
how many times
your turn.
No. How many times have you seen it now?
I've seen it about 3 times. I had it confused for that other Coen Brothers movie, A Simple Man,
How could you confuse the two?
I don't...
Like, the one is about a depressed old man.
A depressed old man. And what year did that come out? And then
it's about a depressed old man.
And then the new golden age of television came out. So and I got distracted by Breaking Bad and all these other shows. And then, for some reason, after Llewyn... came out. I conflated that with the other Coen Brothers movie.
So, like anything.
And so I didn't see it. I didn't
else?
see it until you assigned it to me, and I think
made you watch it.
I was compelled to watch it, but now I am so thankful for you to compel me to watch it because it is such a fine movie, and it's very deep, and there's a lot of like fucking philosophical shit that maybe I've had too many vodkas to talk about. Okay, go.
Mallorie,
yeah, thank you. All right. So I have, I love Coen Brothers. They're great, all well good. All right. So I'm going to take this serious for a minute here. I watched the opening half. I didn't get to see all of it. I'm going to say this. Hey, Coen Brothers, beautiful, beautiful shots. This felt like an original independent film. The opening sequence of him singing was like an older tiny film.
And it was actually him singing.
And it was actually him singing. And it was beautiful. I think what's important and why you picked it, Jim, and I like that you picked it, is that some people won't take the time to really watch the tiny details of a picture, and so you have to have the patience and not the go-go of popular films to get into this. All right, so there's a lot of representation as I go back into that again. In the beginning, he's got a cat, right? He's holding this cat that represents femininity, if people don't know that. And then I have these random notes I've made, but I made a note of 10 equals sun. We're gonna go with that, and also there's good sound editing. So I got some serious notes going on there, but I guess my biggest point is for experience. And I won't watch half of it because the thing is, it was the pace was fine, but it seemed like Justin Timberlake. That I imagine his agent saying, you have to be in something that's really unique and independent if you really want to stand out.
No, and I think what it was Justin Timberlake saying, "I will blow Joel or Ethan Coen to be in one of his films."
Probably both. Yeah, that's a very good point. But Homeboy, that's the lead actor, he's delicious in everything he does. So props to Jim on that pick.
Good. So I'm just gonna throw out a few things because I get last word. Okay, so this is a lot like how I feel about my own talent in my own life. Is I watch this film and I listen to him sing, and then I hear people like talk about after you watch this performance of his and you go, man, that dude's so good, and then you hear someone who has like some kind of influential power, and what they say back to him is, we can't make money here. So change it all. Some interesting facts that you should know about me. I love the Coen Brothers. There is only one film I've never watched and finished by the Coen Brothers is Hail Caesar. They threw in the cat because they didn't have a real plot, and so they decided, I'm not even kidding.
I made that note in the beginning?
This is a true story. There was no real plot, and so they threw in the cat. So the cat they casted was a bitch. and they had the biggest problems with this cat. And so they couldn't finish with his cat. But they finished anyway. You missed the part where he actually finds like a second cat, like when he loses that cat. And then he comes back with another cat, and they're all like, "This isn't my cat." And he goes, "How is it not your cat? Where's its scrotum?" And it's like, it's beautiful. They had a hard time getting distribution for this film because they had no real lead. Which is funny because now when you watch it and you see who's in this film, they're like, "What do you mean you didn't have a real lead?" But at the time they couldn't get distribution. The Coen Brothers couldn't get distribution because they didn't have a lead. So Oscar and Adam Driver are both in this film. And they sing a song called "Please, Mr. Kennedy, Don't Shoot Me into Outer Space." I'm not even kidding. That is the song that Ted, yes? That is the song they sing, yes?
It's the fucking funniest thing I've seen.
And Adam Driver sing "Please, Mr. Kennedy, Don't Shoot Me in Outer Space." They later appear in Star Wars, which is produced by
J.J. Abrams.
Kathleen Kennedy.
Wow.
"Please, Mr. Kennedy,
oh my God,
Don't Shoot Me in Outer Space." Star Wars was produced by Kathleen Kennedy.
Mind blown. Everyone thinks of female directors when they think of Star Wars.
And that's why I'm a nerd.
And by the way, the cat thing isn't accidental. That was deliberate, and they're talking about Schrodinger's cat. And that is
It was actually based on a real artist. Actually, there is I actually could go back. I
did want to ask you, for people that haven't seen the movie, it's set in 1961.
Yeah, and this is the time. The same people are playing like Bob Dylan, and like these are people playing the same clubs. And this guy, and I don't want to give it away, but it's old enough that I can tell you, anyone knows the kind of films I like. This isn't wrapped up in a little bow. Mm-hmm. He doesn't make it. Mm-hmm. He doesn't become a big star. The dude sleeps on couches, and he finishes on couches.
But
Yeah,
there
that's
are
awesome.
other universes where he is fucking owning it.
Yeah, and the best scene in the movie.
And if you don't realize that while watching the movie, then you're dumb.
Best scene of the movie, he shows up to one of the couches he's sleeping on of a dual act that plays together, and he's been sleeping with the girl who's been dating Justin Timberlake's character, and she lets him know that she's pregnant, and the guy asks Justin Timberlake's character for money for the abortion.
And they go on stage like right after, right? Like, we are the world.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are now moving on to, as we have all come accustomed to, Ted's Choice. Ted has given us the 90-minute movie with a 3-hour monologue. Ted has
Why do you always complain about monologues?
Ted has given us
in my movies.
The follow-up.
I've seen plenty of movies recommended by you with monologues.
Excuse me. Yeah, I know, but is it not my turn? Is it not my turn?
It is his turn.
Is this not what I do? So not only has he given us the 90-minute film with 3 hours of monologue, he's also given us the films that were the 100% follow-up to Exorcist that no one else saw as the follow-up to Exorcist except for you and BJ. At least I can say you didn't give us Gleaming the Cube! I give you that. So this film is called At Close Range.
Is a 1986 crime drama film directed by James Foley, based on the real-life rural Pennsylvania crime family led by Bruce Johnson Sr., which operated during the 1960s and 70s.
Was Don Johnson part of that family?
He was,
Yeah, I don't think so.
With Mary Stuart Masterson, who I think was beautiful and...
No, she is beautiful.
She still is beautiful.
Thank you.
I haven't seen her.
Ted, you sexist.
That is my point. I haven't seen her.
She's in Step Brothers, right?
What?
Step Brothers.
Yeah,
she's the mom.
Which
she's
is one of my favorites.
One of my favorite movies too.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck that.
If you had
We
a
got a
samurai
whole
sword
episode.
and you... Would you not?
Would you not have it signed by Randy Jackson?
Would you not have it? Of course I would. Moving on.
Okay.
Sean Penn's brother.
Sean Penn's brother, Crispin, rest in peace.
Andiamo va bene.
David Strathairn.
And who else? Next one.
And Crispin
Why do you
Glover.
keep picking Crispin? That's where we're at. That's where we're gonna stop right there. Crispin Glover.
Yes.
You've picked yet another Crispin. What is your obsession with Crispin
Oh, his
Glover?
eccentricity.
Yes, he keeps picking him, and then not only does he pick him, he defends him. Crispin Glover sucks in this film again.
Dude.
You know, he
Keep your hands off
And
Clarissa.
Oh, because he does a good impression of him. That's maybe.
But he's terrible.
Shit, I don't know what I'm
So
worried about.
Ted,
Okay.
how many times did they fill that same field with
Who
holes?
is after?
And
Who
they
is
kept
after?
bringing
Chris-
him in.
This is after he did Back to the Future.
No, this is after the film that we did last
and
week.
Isn't that brave? Isn't that
No.
brave to take a?
Willard.
Crispin Glover's a crappy, fucking shitty actor.
You know, there's something kitschy about him, though. We have to admit that. Don't we think a little bit?
No.
Why?
He's terrible.
This question's direct because you like him. So this question's directed at Jim. What don't you like about him?
Because he does a specific thing, and I understand. Okay, as an actor, I get that you want to do something. You want to have but his thing sucks.
Oh, I got you.
And he doesn't change from it, and he got popular from it, and now he won't go away from it. And I don't understand why anyone likes Crispin Glover, because tell me one time Crispin Glover was awesome.
Well, you know what's weird is
Back to the Future.
Willard.
No.
Real quick,
Yes.
Willard, the movie
Wait,
about the mountain.
he wasn't awesome in
Stop.
Back to the
Please
Future.
stop
He
it.
was not awesome
We'll
in
talk
Back
next.
to the
We'll talk
Future.
next.
Let's take turns.
Stop. She
Okay.
gets the first
Yeah,
take.
you
Go.
gotta let me take.
So, at close range, some things that I had a problem with, some things that I liked. Number one, I think that we should all put bubble gum in our mouth and start chewing it, because in that film, how many times?
Every scene.
Every scene they were chewing gum.
Oh God.
So the girl was how old?
15,
16.
yeah.
How old it was Sean Penn.
They
didn't say. No, they didn't say. They didn't say. So it's okay if I go bang a 15-year-old tonight?
In some states. In some states, yes.
Okay. In this state,
age of consent.
In Utah.
Yes.
So when they started killing all the buddies,
yes.
and like if all of a sudden like we're like you and Ted and BJ, we started doing some like some sketchy crimes, and like all of a sudden you disappeared and BJ disappeared. What's the likelihood I'm gonna walk out into like a
Zero.
Field?
Zero. They rushed it at the end of the movie.
Let me roll with these criminals.
They came to the end and they're like,
how
are we gonna wrap it up?
Christopher Walken had that beautiful hair. So let me finish up my little things real quick. So Christopher Walken is actually very scared of guns. So when you see the scene where Sean Penn put a gun in his face and he actually goes like that was actually because what happened was Sean Penn, because he wasn't getting the because this is a passion project for sure. He actually left and said his last words was "Get me another gun." And Christopher Walken was someone who's like, I always want to see what's in the chamber. Like he wouldn't, he won't let it. And so when you watch that film, like, and when anyone who sees this movie, some real fucking acting. When you see Christopher Walken go break down with a gun in his face, that's because he don't know. There ain't nothing in the chamber.
What's the movie he's in where he's blindfolded in Russian roulette?
Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter.
So that's probably why he's got a little PTSD from that.
So here's a fun little story. Back in the day, Deer Hunter was given to me in VHS, and I watched the movie. I tried watching it again, and everyone kept saying this is one of the best movies ever. And I watched it again. That movie.
It was part 2.
Yeah, the VHS came in 2 parts, and I was only given part 2. That's a true story.
Oh, I forgot about double, like Titanic. Oh my god.
Okay, and finally, actually, I'll give you 2 last little bits before I let you give a final word. Madonna gave this crappy ass song as the soundtrack to her husband. Because she probably went, no one else is going to listen to it, gave it to her crappy ass husband. And finally, Sean and Chris are brothers. They're the Penns. So in this film, there is a mother and a grandmother. Did you know the grandmother is actually their real mother?
Their real mother,
and in one scene, actually, you hear one of them call grandmother mother. So now we're going to move along to the audience selection. The audience selection this week was Tigerland, starring Collin Farrell, this is our second time that we reviewed one of his films. But yes, we reviewed 2 Collin Farrell films. What's it about, Ted? Ted, you've been fired. Go.
Alright, so Tigerland was the name of a U.S. Army training camp during the mid-1960s to early 70s. It was located in Fort Polk, Louisiana, as part of a U.S. Army Advanced Infantry Training Center, as often as the last stop for new infantrymen on their way to God Save the Queen, Vietnam. Tigerland was established in a humid and muggy Fort Polk in order to closely mimic the environmental conditions of South Vietnam. While the film setting is closely based on Fort Polk, this film was actually filmed in Camp Landing in Florida. Interesting. That's why they changed our infantry colors in the military to that light sand color, because we're in sand places instead of Vietnam where it's got the dark greens. So when we went into the Middle East and all of the fatigues and military now are light, it's because that's what the culture's like, and they blended, or scenery, I'm thinking in film. The scenery, the actual countries themselves are sand and light colors. That's why our fatigues, thank you, the fatigues are different colors.
Weren't we talking about Tigerland?
Yeah, but see what happened there? She was more interesting talking about stuff she knew nothing about than you reading off of a page. Just so we know, Terry.
So, listen, Tigerland. God bless you, child. You're so pretty fly.
This is an audience award, so we can all just discuss. So, have you seen this film?
No, I haven't. But I'm gonna let you boys take it over.
Okay, Ted, have you seen this?
I have seen this.
So this is right on the digital age. This is right where it went from where everybody was either filming on 16 millimeter, 8 millimeter, 32 millimeter, or they were filming on digital. This is right there to where if they filmed this film again, they would have filmed it on digital and shot it for half the price.
Oh, yeah.
But they shot this on, I have it written down, I think it's 16 millimeter?
Probably.
16 millimeter, I believe they shot it in. And here's some really good fun facts. IMDb score of 7.0. Rotten Tomatoes with a 76% critic score, 71% audience score. The actors had no trailers, no chairs. They had no makeup artists. They had no hairstylists. So I can tell you how many theaters it was debuted on. Over under what? I'll give you over under 1,000.
Oh, I think 100.
Ted?
57.
5.
Because I...
Yeah. Filmed it...
Oh, I meant to say 5.
5.
Just a 7 slipped out. Alright, so I've noticed that in this show, fellas, that all of the movies are generally in the 70 percentile range for both Rotten Tomatoes and for critics' reviews, which makes it a good reason for people to watch because that's high enough where it's not splatted tomatoes at 30%, where people could find and interpret what they want out of it. So I appreciate that.
But it's also something that we don't reach out for. We're not trying to find those. We happen to pick films that we love, and then they end up actually getting, like, I don't think we've done a single film other than maybe Gleam the Cube, which is our theme song.
Which is also what they're doing right now when I took off my shirt.
No, I would never do
their
that.
Cubes.
I would never do that. I would never do that.
Hands up.
Hands up.
7 up.
Those are fake hands.
So this is a film about this guy who gets put into the army. He doesn't want to be there. Yeah. He figures out a niche where he can get people out of the army to where they don't have to go to Vietnam. And he's getting people out. And so, like, at first he's like the rebel where nobody wants to have anything to do with him. And then it turns into, like, he's the only one that ends up going to Vietnam.
I think there's a grain of a good movie.
A grain? What do you mean just a grain?
Oh, well,
there's a great film.
There's a whole segment at the very beginning where they go and pick up on the townies and have sex, and none of that is necessary.
Because you would never have sex with a townie.
None of that is necessary. There's gratuitous humping and shit like that. It's so stupid.
Oh.
He goes AWOL. He could have made friends with the one guy without going.
Are you serious? Your review is he goes with the one guy? Are you serious? That's your review.
And they have gratuitous sex, and you can see Collin Farrell's ass, and it's all sweaty, and it made me hot. And if I want to see that, I can watch that on YouTube, on a different alternative
Ted, who is
YouTube.
Clifton Collins Jr.?
I will tell you who that is.
I'm stuck on that he likes cheese.
I like watching a nice male buttocks, but not in a Hollywood movie. I want to
Ted, who is Clifton Collins Jr.?
He is the alter ego of Andy Kaufman.
No.
On another show, we should talk about Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, I could do that all day.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Annoying?
Oh, I hate him.
We can fight.
No.
You guys are not my friends anymore.
Clifton Collins Jr. Google him.
That makes me
Real
sad.
quick, as he Googles it, Jim and I can have a conversation. It's another Crispin Glover.
No.
It's another character.
No. Clifton Collins is one of those guys.
I was talking about Andy Kaufman.
Oh, we're not talking about
I know. He said he's got to do something. I said, well, he
has to do because he doesn't know who. I just fucking threw him down to Clifton Collins Jr. He doesn't know who
I know, that's why I moved on to Andy Kaufman.
All right. Now we'll talk.
We'll
go after that.
Before we move on to our next reckies, let me just ask you.
So I'll give you my last.
I crunched my No, my take is this would have been a good movie if it hadn't had that stupid scene with the townies and they're all sweaty and having sex. I hated that part, and I was very touched by the part where Collin Farrell was saving all of these poor bastards that were drawn into this dumb, stupid war.
Collins Jr.
Who?
He was the first prick that he met that they butted heads with. He ended up getting him out of the fucking war.
Yeah.
And then the whole point of the reason why that was so important is because at the end, when he got put into the war and he had to be put through the war, is because of he got Clifton Collins Jr. out of the war and he ended up in the war. However, at the end of the movie, what did they say? They didn't know that he just disappeared. They didn't know if he died or not. They just couldn't find him. And there was reports that he may have been in Mexico. He may have been. So did he get out? Did he not? And it's just my final take.
Well, real quick, we finally had him on a roll.
Yeah.
I kind of want you to finish your thought about saving the people. That was the longest it's been a coherent.
Yeah, there's a scene peeling the potatoes and everything, and the poor grunt, who's like half a dimwit, tells his story, and Collin Farrell fucking tears up, and he's like, fucking, what are you doing to me? And he's sympathetic to these poor guys, and he's defiant against the authority.
He finally decided to help these guys get him out of the...
not finally. He was always defiant against authority and helping.
It doesn't sound like that from the beginning with the townies.
He isn't right.
He wouldn't have been so dismissive of the girls that he just had sex with. He let them.
Name the last 5 girls you had sex with.
Michael Stipe.
Alright, I get last word.
Brandon Flowers.
I get last word because this went on way so long.
And then I have to do a little kind of asterisk after your last word on this film, and then we will get to it.
Ted, do you know who Greg Sestero is?
No.
Have you ever seen a small little indie film called The Room?
Is that the buddy that...
The blonde dude.
Really?
He auditioned for the lead
Oh, no.
of this film.
And he didn't make it.
Obviously.
Okay.
And go ahead and do your +1.
All right.
And keep lipping whatever you're saying.
Yeah, I want to see if he can stay in character.
This film includes a little actor named Shea Wiggum and a little actor named Michael Shannon, also of Boardwalk Empire
That's
fame.
Not, you can't. No, he was also.
I have crunched the numbers. If there is a production with Michael Shannon, what is the odds that there will be a Shea Wiggum in the same production?
These are for film buffs that know those characters, the boys and girls.
But he doesn't know
who Clifton Hefferton the
Waco,
Texas.
Waco. They were both in that.
What do people? Can people write in on the show?
What is
a little movie called Take Shelter?
What is
they were both in that movie.
What is the email
Do
address?
they come in a package deal?
Ted, what is the email address? This is the most incoherent episode we've ever done.
Bad Lieutenant Port of Call. Give peace a chance at gmail.com. Peace, Piece.
Like a piece of pie.
Yes.
So basically what you're saying is give peace a chance, but it's spelled different than you think it would. It's Piece and chance is Chanz. That's right.
Chance.
Give peace a chance.
Gmail.com. Yes.
Write in and
Bravo.
Let's go ahead and finish this up with our final movie, Annihilation. It has an IMDb score of 6.9, Rotten Tomatoes score of 87%, and an audience award of 66%. Ted, what's it about?
It's about self-destruction. Boom. That's about what it is about.
Thank you for cutting that short, Ted.
Yeah.
You know what? I so like to not interrupt that I have that air for a moment for us to kind of bring it down a minute. Annihilation, does anybody know anything about astral projection, sacred geometry? Who out there, viewers, is going to look at the pyramid spectrum and see the colors as a change in our minds and that we create our own manifestations? And the single cell is a simple circle, which is a representation of numerology and symbology. And that's where I leave the show as I travel through time and disappear into thin air.
My mind is blown.
Okay, I was just watching a movie that was written by Alex Garland, and he did another movie I like called Ex Machina, or Machina, but I liked it a lot. And this had Natalie Portman, who else I also like to look at. Okay. Yeah.
Are you back from the Triangle Land? The thing is we all want to escape our self-destruction. And what that means is we all want to escape things that are difficult in our lives. So we do it in different ways. If it's not in one way, it's another. And until we accept that things are as they are, sure. I mean, look, we've all been there where we get so self-destructive. We've seen things that aren't there. It's a representation of all of that from what I've seen of this movie. We can let our minds go, no doubt, as far as we want them to go without the magic of the magic of the magic of pills and acid and all that stuff. You can get into understanding this stuff if you study it deeper and deeper. That's where Mallorie, again, steps out of the show. Or doesn't, because now they're distracted. Okay, guys, we gotta get into understanding symbology and occultism. And Stanley Kubrick's a genius at it, and MK Ultra.
Did you actually see the film?
It doesn't matter.
No,
I did see it.
Okay.
The colors have representation. The people that chose to go into the other side all had their own demons of their own, and they wanted to escape their demons. As Goo Goo Dolls say, you bleed just to know you're alive, right? There are people that are dead inside.
I don't reference Goo Goo Dolls for any, but that's okay.
Hey, I'm just
Mallorie.
bringing it back around. We learned that in the improv world.
What's a Europodose?
Never say no.
What's a Europodose?
What's a... Oh, please keep it.
Europe it is. What is...
Anyway, so
what
the
is
guy
that?
in the...
Jim?
The guy with the tapes on
A
his
Europe.
Let's let him finish it.
It's a figure 8 snake eating its own
Infinity.
tail. Yeah. No, not infinity.
No, well, it's a general representation of infinity. That self-destruction, it's the continuous mind thought pattern where we're always stuck in our minds thinking the same thing. How do you break the pattern? How far are you willing to go, boys and girls? Boys and girls. How far are you willing to go?
At least until Taco.
I'm getting all deep and dark with this, but how far are you willing... my representation of the film, if I may be so bold, and I know this isn't... But how far are you willing to go? Let me finish this real quick.
I didn't cut you off.
Oh, it was... How far are you willing to go into your subconscious mind? How deep and dark? We are raised to believe in angels and devils and things like that. But we hear the word devil and we instantly think of damnation and these horrible things. But we don't want to face any of our fears. I work in a world where I see the worst of the worst, but I also see the best of the best. It's called the yin-yang, right? And so I think it's important to know, if you've seen this movie, if you haven't, it's new to me, and it represents, if you watch it and see if you can pick up on this, how far you're willing to let yourself go.
I would say they relied on a song, Helplessly Hoping, that has been at the back of my brain since I was a youngster. This was a shortcut. It shouldn't have been written around that song, because that song makes me cry tears, and I'm crying tears not because of the movie, but because because it's such a beautiful song, and it's a beautiful song on its own, and it shouldn't be appropriated by a movie. The responsibility is on the people that make the movie to make a song that will make me do that isn't from 1968. Film is not just moving pictures and dialogue and shit like that. We're living in an era of Tarantino with his hip soundtrack and Baby Driver and all that shit, with all these songs that are at the back of our brain that make us have an emotional reaction, when you should go into the film and not have any preconceived emotional triggers and be blown away. And this movie could have done it, and they didn't need that song, and I love that song. It just shouldn't have been in that movie.
Jim, our host, please go into what you'd like to next. We all, basically the three of us, and by the way, I've loved being on here. This has been a laugh riot. And so I appreciate you guys having me on. I hope I can come on again. I'm excited to meet BJ. I hope his honey-do list is done by now. Oh, bless his heart. Just because I make you
Goyim.
So we actually have we wanted to do a Halloween episode, but we're all too far huge, big drunks to make that happen.
Wow.
So we're not going to make that happen. So, my film that I would like for everyone to watch for the next week is called The Big Sick.
Ooh.
The Big Sick.
Everyone write that down.
Audience would like to watch Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. The newer film that I would like everyone to watch is called A Ghost Story, starring Casey Affleck. Ted would like to pick.
I would like to do a little movie diner.
That's fine, and our guest host gets to pick a film.
Gone Girl. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, I got one more movie because BJ's still a part of this. BJ would like you to watch Witch.
Oh, yeah.
The new film Witch. And
that's a tough one.
Yeah, that is a tough one.
Oh, damn.
That's what BJ wants you to watch, so we're going to watch Witch. So next week, we're going to do 6 films. We're going to have to do them in a shorter capacity. And so, God bless you. Remember who you are.
And also watch Michael Jackson Moonwalker.
And remember who you are, what you stand for, and your potential in life, and assholes, go fuck yourself.
Thank you for having me.
Thank ya.
He's got some shit there, you guys, on YouTube. I'm gonna post links right now.
Are you satisfied? I put
He sent
tape from my Ghost set list on my nipples.
Ghost is over there.
Ghost would be... Fuck off.
Alright, let's go.
Good.
Okay.
I'm done.
Go Ghost is
Alright,
overrated.
Ted, show me your titties.
Did you say
Teddy,
Ghost is
Teddy,
overrated?
show me your titties in 5.
I think I
Teddy.
have to
They
terminate.
make terrible music.
I
They're theatric. They're fucking Kiss. That's what they are. Of the fucking 2020.
Oh my god, you have a school chair I'm sitting on. What the?
Goddamn right you are.
That's right. I like a
Ted, you
young
ready?
crowd.
Jim Stevens just broke my heart.
Ted, I don't like Sparks either. So we're moving along.
That's okay.
If people really
but
do listen
Ghost?
to this in
I
Utah,
don't like Ghost.
Spark is a store in Trolley Square. If people have shopped there.
Alright, here we go. We're going to...
I need a bag to breathe in. I need a bag to breathe in.
We got 3 more films in the finish, dude.
Yeah.
We're halfway through this fucking thing.
I
Don't
doubt
get a
we're
2-hour
halfway.
fucking thing, dude. Ready?
Jim, you
Show me
are
your
my
dick.
friend.
Show me your dick in 3.
This isn't on film.
You are my
That's not-
friend.
Show me your dick in 5. 4.
And you don't like
Show me your
Ghost?
Yeah, I don't like Ghost. It's terrible music. I understand the
What?
theatrics of it.
What?
I understand the theatrics of it. I understand like what they're doing. I appreciate what they're doing, but their actual fucking music sucks dick.
I have. Do I know Ghost? Did you play that song you sent me the other morning? Is that Ghost?
It's terrible music, Ted.
Ted's in a trance.
Ted, it's terrible music.
Because
It's not good music.
it's the shirt.
He's got his titties hanging out, and I just can't take him seriously.
the tape on them. He's being politically correct.
All right, come on, let's finish this.
Alright.
Their
Ready?
first,
Can you get over
their
it?
first
No,
album
that's not the
came
first time
out.
I've heard it.
I bought their first album on the day it was released.
You mean when you were 12, like 18 years ago?
18, like 37 years ago.
Wow. That's the worst ad ever. That puts him at 30 years old.
I was
That's a
trying
good
to...
I'll take it.
Ted,
Yeah, you're
I
younger
made
than
it.
me.
I made a deal with it.